Welcome back to the Bad Dadvice podcast. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at Physical Education, Jacksonville's #1 personalized strength and conditioning program workout things. Visit them at This is terrible. Visit them over at www.phys-ed-jacks.com to schedule your first session. That was bad.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah,
you started out.
You should have read it.
It started out good, and then I realized
move your microphone.
I realized I flubbed. I asked you 10 times, do I sound okay? Everybody said yes.
A little hot mic. I mean, just a little hot mic.
Well, you got excited.
You got a loud laugh.
The guy's getting excited talking about the gym, man. The guy's fired up.
He's sweating. I can see him sweating from here just thinking about the gym.
Freaking out about the gym.
As people, hopefully, welcome back, everybody. As you can tell, we still haven't figured out how to do a live read. We also refuse to do second takes. My
notes are on my phone, which we have yet to use, and today we're using my phone.
We don't know where to keep the microphones. We're learning, but very slowly. Hilarious live read for the gym, but they've decided to continue sponsoring us, which is great. But we didn't get into the details of the actual agreement, which I've had some questions about. Because people are curious. We talked about it last episode, but we didn't get into the details. And we're a very open podcast. We like to be honest with all of our viewers, the many tens of you out there that are listening regularly.
Tens of male
Tens
viewers.
of daddies.
Tens of dads that are listening. The agreement is not to pay us, but to let us work out. So they're getting a steal on this
Free advertising.
Practically free.
But after that live read, you think they're going to want to keep going? They can't even read a script.
They're going to revisit it. So we've done a couple of episodes with them as a sponsor. They've offered us free personal training. Awesome. I mean, an incredible offer for somebody that wants to work out and appreciates their body and does the right things and eats something other than Sour Patch Kids that are 3 weeks old 5 seconds before we get onto the air. And chews into the microphone as we're doing a live read.
They're really sticky today.
Phenomenal offer, phenomenal opportunity for us. But they're getting some free advertising.
I'll tell you this much: I completely planned on going there, but I'm still waiting on Robo to give me the guy's number to even talk to him.
I don't even know how to.
561, you ain't going.
I have even if I wanted to go. I wouldn't even know how, because you gotta you can't just show up it's like personal training, right? I gotta set up an appointment.
So here's what we're gonna do, because
you can't do it online. We
can't trust Robo. So guys from Phys Ed, please reach out to Jameson Cardwell.
Email us,
because don't email us. Go to the Bad Dadvice Instagram, because I run that shit.
Leave a comment
and
leave a
just
comment.
DM me, because I would love to work out in your facility. I would love to
at
work
least once.
I would love to work these mascot hips off.
Yeah, phenomenal facility, phenomenal people, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's great. Adam's great.
And Travis, he's
Travis.
he's the other owner.
Yeah, and we just haven't. It's a New Year's. It's my New Year's resolution. I'm just waiting 4 months to start.
And conveniently, our deal expires on December 31st.
Right when New Year's.
Yeah, right when we're all gonna change our mind and want to actually get fit, right? I think the other part too is I think it would be fun. I think we all need to go at least once, because I think that's a great episode, something to talk about. It's like, hey, what they put you through? What kind of maybe personal training? Maybe they do health and fitness, right? So there might be some diet stuff in there. What kind of different diets did we get put on?
So I'll tell you, because I actually researched it for the first read, because my read was great. They do personalized lessons, and they kind of work in pods. So it seems like they do a group of people, and they do for what you're trying to do, you're in a pod of people that has a plan, and then everything is registered. So every rep, all that stuff, and then it's basically how at the beginning of what is the thing that we used to do? Insanity. You know how at the beginning they register all your reps and stuff, and then at the end they do
a fit test. Yeah.
So they do fit tests like that, and then they register your progress and all that stuff, and so you're accountable.
Yeah. So a lot of what they do is also very sport specific for different sports and things like that. So
hold on, can you stop breathing in the mic?
Is that me?
It's you.
I didn't think that was me.
It's you, man. You got a nose whistle. Can you cut it out? Jesus, we can't do
We have
anything.
yet to
right.
figure this
I got a
out.
deviated septum.
We have to go to the gym just so we're not breathing
Yeah,
like we're dying.
Yeah, I think we need to go to the gym.
This might be the four collection of guys that snores while we're awake.
That's right. That's the we talked about dad bods a couple episodes ago. I think that's the differentiator. As soon as you
Yeah.
snore while you're awake, you've surpassed dad bod,
Right.
and you're just a fat
Right.
dad.
Yeah.
All right. Let's transition into what the core of
Wait,
this
wait,
episode.
wait. I have something.
Oh, okay.
I brought gifts. I come bearing gifts.
Oh,
So,
Here we go.
I don't even know what was it, episode 3. I talked about I didn't even bring it. My bad Dadvice tumbler, made by Tumblr Genie, and I did spell it wrong in that episode. It's actually Tumblr JEANN 2 N's IE Tumblr Genie on Facebook. Check her out. All custom, anything you want, really.
Isn't that your
Tumblr.
aunt?
It is my aunt.
And you
yeah.
spelled her name wrong?
What?
So if you looked for her on Facebook and you found just some random thing, there you go. Okay, let's do. Oh,
Pass it
look
around
at
the
this.
horn. Pass it around the horn.
Oh, look! I thought were you giving this to me? Or
That's
were
for you.
Oh, it's for me.
And I already gave Cardwell his.
You're
He's already
holding-
drinking out of
You're
his.
holding it.
Yeah. So I've got my my what is this, like 42
That's
ounce?
that's the 30 ounce. That's the 20 ounce.
Bad
That is the
Dadvice.
that's the little rocks glass. It's like
Look at this thing.
a little smaller
It's like
than
a
I
shot of
thought.
espresso.
It's really not a glass. It's more of a ceramic.
You got giant hands.
Ooh, I got a straw.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so now everybody has a bad Dadvice cup. Everybody can drink their favorite ice cold or hot beverage out of their
Tumblr Genie.
out of their
Check her out.
personalized bad
Tell
Dadvice. cup.
Tumblr Genie there's some bubbles in my...
Tumblr Genie will tell you to do it your own damn self.
All right. So now that we got the gifts out of the way, just to start it off, we are going to start a special right now. This is going to be part 1 of a 2-part podcast series. We're going to be doing all fantasy football talk for the next 2 episodes. So I'm sorry if that's not floating some people's boats, but I don't know.
It's more
Fuck
about
it.
what
I don't
we
know.
want to talk about. We don't really care what you want to listen
We've
to.
got tens of listeners. So until we have hundreds of listeners, y'all can go kick rocks. Okay.
I don't want to
my
be
God,
that.
don't
I don't wanna
kick
be
rocks.
so mean.
I don't know. I think
But if you don't
right,
like
like-
it,
I'm like,
Like
I'm
just
still-
like come back next week if you don't like it. Like
yeah.
just take
So
a week off.
It is true. We don't really care about our listeners at all. But yeah, we're going to talk about fantasy football. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about our league specifically because we're very selfish. We're not going to give you actually good advice. It's probably going to be
No, there'll be good advice.
bad dad advice.
bad dad.
We're
Bad
very
advice.
knowledgeable about the subject, so I think this will be really good for some people. I don't know if they're the ones that are watching the podcast,
That's true.
but it will be helpful.
Dude, I'm still sweating thinking about the gym. Oh my God.
And as dads, yeah, we do have a ton of fantasy football knowledge at our disposal. All we do really is watch football. It's our one and only joy in life. Wait. Also,
And
I
our
guess
kids.
also
And our children.
I guess also our
Stay
children.
as long as you can.
I guess we got we love our kids.
We
too.
started a podcast because when football season ended, we still needed an excuse to hang out.
right.
Yeah. Now this is our time to shine.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is part 1 of the podcast. This is going to be the pre-draft because we draft on this weekend, which will probably be after.
This will be posted probably after the
this.
draft,
But
yes.
yeah, so this is going to be pre-draft. So we're going to go over all of our personal rankings, who we like, who we hate, who will overpay for, who's going to ruin a team, all that stuff.
So let's start out with a little bit of a baseline of where we're approaching this from, which is how our league is designed, how we play fantasy football. This is a league that we've been in for 10 plus years. When we were in college, we all played together. So this is a lot of our other guys that look like us, fat dads, a lot of them.
Except for that one guy that's a fitness guru.
Except for one guy that's extremely jacked and very fit. I won't say who that is, but Nicky Miller, right?
Me.
Polster. It's Polster.
Polster. Yeah, we're gonna name drop some of the guys in the league. So shout out to all the league members who are about to get name dropped.
Smokey the Bear League.
Smokey the Bear, in honor of our former coach. Love him. He got fired for being too good at coaching. I don't know what he got fired for, but he got fired. So our league, here's how it's constructed. We have 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 4 receivers, 2 tight ends, a kicker, and a defense. There are no flex positions. There are 5 bench spots. No,
6.
6 bench spots,
Six.
which gives you a total roster of 18.
And a 12-team league.
It's a 12-team league, no PPR, and some of the scoring is a little bit interesting, where we have bonuses for 100-yard rushing performances and 300-yard passing performances. Everything else scoring-wise is pretty standard.
And 100-yard receiving.
100 receiving too.
No, you're wrong. So thanks for interrupting me to be
What?
wrong.
100-yard receiving
There is
gets a bonus?
100-yard receiving bonus.
It's 40-yard
Commish.
40-yard completion, 40-yard rush gets 2 bonus points.
All right, we'll cut that out.
No bonus.
No do-overs.
No bonus for 40-yard receptions.
All right,
Don't worry,
Anyways,
we'll edit it. We'll edit it in
anyways.
post.
They
We'll
get
edit
the
it in
point.
post. So yeah, there are some bonuses that are specific to some positions. But yeah, that's the league. So there's a heavy emphasis on receiver, heavy emphasis on quarterback, and much less of an emphasis on running back. It is also a salary cap draft that we're doing, this is the 3rd year of that draft, which is an insanely fun. I recommend it for anybody that wants to change the league up to do a salary cap auction draft. It is a phenomenal time that gets you the opportunity to get together with people. We'll have in this room, I think 8 of the 12 people will be in this room drafting in a couple days. So we're very excited about it, and it is going to be intense. So with that said, let's start with pre-draft process, which as a dad is extremely difficult to actually prepare for a draft. There's you gotta fit it in at 11:30 at night. You go to the bathroom because you can't hold your pee all night because you got a prostate thing, and then you go and you're like, let me prepare my
At
rankings.
30 years old, you got a prostate thing.
Well, yeah, I'm 33.
You have a made-up prostate thing, so you can go to the bathroom.
I drink too many fluids.
Honey, my prostate.
Trey, why have you been in the bathroom for 30 minutes? I got a prostate thing.
Got a prostate thing. Working on my rankings. So, what is your pre-draft process when you're thinking about rankings and pre-draft in your preparation?
I think the big thing that I do is watch a lot of football from previous years.
Do you watch preseason?
I watch some preseason.
What?
I don't watch a ton of preseason football. I think what helps me a little bit drafting with our league, since it is so incredibly deep, is I'm also a big college football fan.
Yeah.
So I get to watch those guys the year prior, and I know the guys that are coming out. So I tend to hit on a lot of those younger rookies and first year guys. What?
I said that's big.
Yeah. So watching college football definitely helps me out. And I keep those kind of things in the back of my mind as I'm getting ready to draft. Other than that, it's mostly just mock drafting and doing the opposite of whatever I think Abs will do.
Yeah, that's that's the other point that we want to make. So some of the history of the league. I am one of the few managers that is a multi-year champ. Another one of the managers that is a multi-year champ is sitting over there. Another champ is sitting
That would
over
be
here.
Robo for the listeners.
For the Robos, for the listeners. So me, Robo, Cardwell, all previous champs.
This year's my year.
So
Between the 4 of us, there are 5 championships.
In my defense, Trey says that this league has been. It's probably 12 years old now. How long has it been?
2010.
11?
This will be year 13, won't it?
Yeah.
2010.
I've only been in the league for 6 years, so I have 6 more years.
What are you
to
waiting
get on
for?
So Trey has 3 championships, 3 or 2?
I have 2 championships.
2 championships in 12 years. I've been in the league for 6 years. I got 6 more years to get 2, and then we're on the same pace. What does it matter?
If we have time, either in this episode or next episode, we'll get into some of the historic manager stats so that the audience can truly appreciate how terrible you are as a manager. But just to kind of put a cap on this, and we'll move back into some of our pre-draft planning. The person who came in first place last year is Ryan Roberson. The person who came in second place last year is Trey Ferrano. The person that came in third place last year is Jamison Cardwell. So you have plenty of good knowledge, plenty of representation for the league and how dominant the league is. And then James Abatonzi came in 11th place last year, barely made it out, and squeaked a win in his last game to not finish in dead last.
And didn't you start 5-0?
I started 5-0.
Absolute collapse.
But I started 5-0, and I was winning. I started 5-0, and I was average scoring 95 points a week.
Yeah, you started 5-0, and then I traded you Carson Wentz after week 4 because I knew that he was going to be garbage.
No, that was before that.
Did you trade for Carson Wentz last year?
I did trade for Carson Wentz.
That was
And then
good
wouldn't
move?
trade him
but who
away.
did I-
Him and
but who did I
Mariota.
give up? Mac Jones.
so you rode Mariota all last year.
He actually. I'll tell you what. That wasn't the reason. That was not my downfall.
That wasn't okay. There were other
My downfall was my number one wide receiver last year was Alan Lazard. In a wide receiver deep, yeah, I could never get I didn't have good wide receivers.
And whose fault is that?
It's partially mine because
Partially?
it's partially
So
mine.
hold on. You can't say partially because the whole point of an auction draft is if you want somebody, buy them.
No, my
Right.
draft was fine. My draft was fine.
Did you
But then I
draft?
traded. But then I made this one trade, and I tell you what, I look back, and you guys call me crazy because now you know hindsight's 2020. I would have made this trade again. I would have made this trade. I traded before the season started last year. I traded Justin Jefferson.
Idiot.
Wrong.
I traded Justin Jefferson,
Were you about to say Colin Kaepernick?
Kenneth Gainwell, and maybe like Cordero Patterson. I think I traded those three guys, and I got Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, and AJ Dillon.
Whoa.
Which right
Hold
in
on,
hind-
hey, hold on. Move your mic away. You're getting a little
yeah,
hot.
I'm getting heated.
You're getting a little hot.
Because in hindsight, that's a terrible trade because Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, and AJ Dillon all probably had the worst statistical season of their entire careers.
Yeah, you're right. They all
the same
combined
time.
for less points than Justin Jefferson.
Bingo.
I don't know about that. I'd have to go look at that. I'm not
Pull
so
it up.
sure. I'm
The
not so
fact
sure
that
about
you
that.
even have to go look that three people might have got less than one person,
But-
you lost the trade.
But looking back, like before the season started, everybody was the expectation was that DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks were pretty solid, high end or wide receiver twos, right? And I didn't have any good receivers after Justin Jefferson, so I was trying to build some depth. So I thought
and then after you made the trade, you still didn't have any good receivers.
Cooks and Moore were going to be, high end wide receiver twos, and AJ Dillon is I thought was going to be a high end RB2. Like that was pretty much everything you saw, everything you said, everything like that you've seen in years past. That's what it shows, and they just all three just so happened to completely
that's-
shit the bed last year.
That's what separates good managers from bad managers, though, right? Is like a good manager will get Justin Jefferson from an idiot,
Right. That's me.
and a bad manager will trade Justin
Trey
Jefferson.
is such a phony. Like we're sitting here and Trey's like, you're such an idiot. You're so stupid. But like if I sit off the mics, me and Trey sit here one on one and we make this talk. He's like, dude, it wasn't bad.
This
And
is
like,
this is
Of
funny.
course, he's going to say it wasn't bad.
So this
He
is
ripped
funny.
you
Hold
off.
on, hold on.
No,
Because he's going to do
no,
the same
no,
thing
no.
this year.
Hold
Hold on.
You ripped him off.
Stop.
Sorry.
Hey, relax.
You ripped
relax.
him off.
Relax.
We'll talk
with the
about that.
screaming. Relax with the screaming. This is funny that you mentioned that because Jaime did not want to have this pre-draft podcast because his belief is that I am going to suck information from these people and I am going to be able to use it more than they are going to be able to use it against
Listen,
me.
you cannot like just put yourself out there like some kind of like little ghost. You are a siphon of dark magic fantasy bullshit is what you are. You are.
Yeah, so I'm fully convinced that this episode Trey is going to give us nothing but fake rankings.
Right,
What's
everything
funny,
Trey says is gonna be
what's
fake.
funny is like I think I got Robo, who's a very good manager. He won the league last year. I'm pretty sure I got Robo to bid like $15 or $20 on Myles Gaskin 2 years ago because he believed
I thought he was the guy.
I inception embedded the idea that Myles Gaskin
I thought he was the guy.
Can we?
I thought he was the guy.
Can we just talk?
I stand by
before
it.
we get into real rankings and stuff like that. The last thing I want to talk about is one of the guys in our league, our friend Nicky Miller. Before our draft in a couple of days, has to do a Waffle House challenge because he thought that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to be a top 15 running back.
I thought it was.
I thought it was top 20.
Yeah, it's top 20.
It was
I
top
think.
20.
Which is like
Either
not,
way,
And like
he was
after
so
6 weeks, he
wrong.
was like RB5.
Right. Brees Hall had more points and didn't play
Half the
because he
season,
was
right.
injured for the rest of the year. Did not play.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift. So you said that your pre-draft kind of preparation strategy is college. I don't watch any college football.
Me either.
I'm not a college fan. I do watch preseason, but I very much weight that as a lower priority on my list of like how I prepare. You don't prepare at all, correct?
Yeah, I feel like the more that I prepare, the more I think, and the worse it gets. So I actually have I've got a good understanding of the valuations of people. Like I see, I don't know. I kind of have like a little Beautiful Mind thing going on. Like I see like tiers and the valuations of people.
A what?
You know the movie Beautiful Mind?
No. I haven't.
Yeah, like you can't even read. So what? That's not that
Beautiful
that's not
Mind.
surprising.
Right. The movie's always better than the book.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Never.
All right, perfect.
Best friend's a janitor.
I watch like movies like Is it funny? Is it a comedy?
No.
I only watch like
Step Brothers.
I watch like Step Brothers.
You look
And
like you watch Step
20
Brothers.
Step Brothers, 21 Jump Street. Like that's kind of my stuff.
You look like your favorite movie is Step Brothers.
All right, perfect. Anyways,
my drum
so
set.
I've got an idea of tiers, and then I rank my people off of tiers, and then I subjectively decide if I value those people above that blank tier valuation I put on people or below it, and then I go off of that. And so I don't really like. I'll watch some preseason, but it's really just I have my ideas of certain value benchmarks, and then I subjectively go off that, and then I just kind of ride it out.
And again, just so we're clear, like, don't take anything that Abs says as like gospel, because Jaime drafted with all of us from his phone one year. We were all on laptops and everything.
Every year.
Jaime drafts from his phone, sitting on the couch like a sack of potatoes, and
Drinking lots of
finishes
beer.
significantly higher than Abs every
And
year.
doesn't draft Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
Alan Lazard was good.
This year, he's looking good.
I'm taking him again. I'm all over Alan Lazard
looking
again.
good, dude.
He's
And the Jets with Aaron Rodgers?
I'm all about my. Here's my big problem in the league. I draft way too many fucking Jets.
So you're gonna
Every
be
year.
great this year.
But this year, this is the year to get the Jets.
This year,
And I'm going to get no Jets.
I think this year your team is going to switch from the
no Jets.
I think this year your team switches from the Jets and becomes like the Panthers, and you go
Cardinals.
Somebody's got to catch balls. Somebody's got to catch
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Is it Adam Thielen?
Bryce Young's gonna throw for 3,500 yards. Somebody's got to catch him.
That's my theory every year.
I was just
Jonathan Mingo.
I don't know why. Like that theory
He doesn't
should
even know who that is.
That theory, yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
Gloss right over it.
yeah.
That I do.
Who is it?
He's a receiver for the Panthers.
Anything
Is-
else? You got
Is it
nothing else?
Mingo or is it Wingo?
Oh, it's Trey
Trey
Wingo.
Wingo.
I don't know who that is.
Trey Wingo. He's on the Buffaloes. He's a rookie for the Buffalo Bills.
He's gonna draft the wrong one.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Cameron Jordan Cameron.
Exactly. What's your pre-draft process?
I was so in the past. It's been, I'll like play podcasts on the way to work, and that's kind of how I hear about the, you know who the good guys are, right? I mean, like everybody knows that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback and Justin Jefferson is the best receiver and all that stuff, right? Everybody knows that stuff, but then it's the guys that you don't really, you don't see them a ton in preseason or those guys kind of sleepers and like that's how I hear about that stuff.
You're trying to draft a whole team of Snickers sleepers.
That's my
the
problem. That's
Right.
my problem. Is I get too caught up in the podcast, right? And what Matthew Berry says and what the Fantasy Pros podcast, like what all these guys say,
Right.
and then I go, oh man, this guy's gonna have a breakout season.
Tajay Sharp.
Right, this guy's gonna have a breakout season, and this guy's gonna have a breakout season, and this guy, and then I go and overpay for all these guys who are gonna have a breakout season, and only one of. So I have one guy that has a breakout season, and everybody else is terrible.
If you recognize that listening to podcasts, which is ironic because we are a podcast, listening to podcasts is bad for your pre-draft process, then what did you change this year?
I don't listen. I don't listen to him nearly as much.
So you did nothing.
I'll tell you what. I'm like, this draft is in a couple days. I'm so unprepared.
And
Like,
this is your first preparation stint with having a kid. You guys do not have kids yet.
Right.
This is my first preparation stint. My kid was born during the season. Yours was born just after the season, after
Right
the
after the
Super Bowl.
yeah.
So this is the first time of like preparing, and I've seen, right, I got to go, I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and look at my phone for a couple minutes and try to figure some stuff out. So I'm having that. This is your last year of like actually having a chance to prepare.
Yeah.
And you've decided that
true.
you can't even do it. There's no
I
preparation
literally
time.
can't. I just found out like 2 weeks ago that
Who Jonathan Mingo is.
that Derek Carr was on the Saints. I just found that out. Like, I
Oh,
don't even,
you are
like I don't even know. I couldn't even name.
Wait
in a
till you find out where Trey Lance is.
in a two quarterback league.
Wait, where
He
is
got
Trey
traded.
Lance?
He got traded to the Cowboys. I did see that. in a 2-quarterback league where every quarterback gets drafted and some guys like after the draft don't end up with 2 quarterbacks. Like I don't even know who every starting quarterback is right now.
We know that. It's clear. That's why you come in 11th place.
That's like one of the things whenever I talk to like other people in other leagues, because most leagues don't have a 2 tight end setup, right? So like in any other league, it almost gives us an advantage of being able to pick up guys on the waiver wire during bye weeks in other leagues, because if you ask anybody in another league, can you name 24 tight ends in the NFL?
Right.
They can't do it.
Right.
Oh, 100%. Like I've had such success in other leagues just because of our league, and that's what makes it worth. Even if like it's throwing money away every year that you don't win our league, it comes right back at every other league because you're so much more prepared than everybody else.
It's like Mike Gesicki is a dude in our league, and he is ignored in every other league.
Right. He's like an
He's
every
viable.
week starter.
Yeah.
And like
He's trade bait.
Right, trade bait. He's the kicker that gets you over the hump
could win you a week.
to get.
He's
Justin Jefferson.
He's the guy that gets you TJ Hawkinson.
All right, let's get into rankings here. Let's start. Can we go quarterback rankings? Can we start there and give our kind of like overvalue, undervalue, and we'll start with quarterback rankings. We have a little secondary view that we'll switch to, and
I just switched to it.
Got it. We're on that, and hopefully this looks great in 4K. But we're just videotaping a TV screen, so we're low tech here, but we'll figure it out. Hopefully it looks good. All right. So I think we all agree with Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. The one that I'm looking at there is Lamar Jackson. I put Lamar Jackson into my tier 1, not my tier 2. What do you guys think?
I have Lamar Jackson as a tier 1 quarterback, and I have Joe Burrow like tinkering on the line, like much closer to a tier 1 quarterback than most people, just because of the weapons he has. I think Joe Burrow could be a tier 1 guy.
I agree with that. I'd put Lamar Jackson.
Geez, I'm out. No longer in on Joe Burrow.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna give all these guys. I'm just gonna talk about all the good guys that I like, so that these guys don't want to draft them. But I agree with the rushing ability that Lamar Jackson has, plus the new offensive weapons he has with OBJ and Zay Flowers and what the fuck is his name, Rashad Bateman, back from not being injured.
Bateman.
I used to love me some Rashad Bateman. Joe Burrow, I think I'd have him tier 1 if he wasn't battling that calf.
The one guy I'm not liking on there is Justin Fields. I am just
That's the one guy.
Yeah, dude.
on that tier 2 list.
I think Justin Herbert is lower than that.
Oh, I disagree.
I disagree with
I
that.
think Justin Herbert. I'm all in on
Especially with
Justin
a
Herbert,
new
I think.
offensive coordinator there, dude.
No,
They're gonna
I
be
would
throwing it.
have just because he's such a runner, I would definitely have Lamar 4th, potentially 3rd over Josh Allen, and then I would have Fields down below Herbert and Lawrence, and then I would probably have Trevor just below Burrow. And that's not because we live in Jacksonville, just because he
Jags
has
bias.
so many weapons around him. That offense is incredible.
I think I'm out on Patrick Mahomes this year, though.
Really?
Yeah.
That's you spitting some false narratives.
No, I think I'm out on Pat Mahomes.
Why? Give me one good reason why.
No weapons.
No weapons. Have you ever
Scott-
heard of a guy named Travis Kelce?
Yeah, but that's 1,200 yards.
Okay, you just said no weapons, and you just discounted arguably one of the top 2 tight ends of all time.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Tom Brady was winning all the Super Bowls with a bunch of ragtag receivers and Gronk?
Oh, you mean like Randy Moss?
He didn't win the Super Bowl with Randy Moss. He lost in the Super Bowl with
that
Randy
who
Moss.
we're talking
I
about?
almost spit my drink out.
Oh, you
Yeah.
mean the greatest statistical season ever
So
with
let's-
Randy Moss?
Let's
70 touchdowns.
Let's go. I
One
think
of
it's
his
I think
five.
it's I think it's interesting that like now it does feel like all of us are just lying because we're trying to convince the other people that we're not going to draft Patrick
I
Mahomes.
will not bid on Patrick Mahomes this year.
Okay, and also speaking of will not bid, we have audio that we're going to play. We don't have it.
I can't.
We
We're using my
can't.
phone.
We can't. There is an audio clip of James Abatinozzi stating he will not draft He will not draft a single tight end in this draft because last year he drafted.
I get burned by tight ends every year.
Drafted 2 tight ends for about $60 in total money.
More than that.
More than $60, which is an insane 30% of his budget went to 2 tight ends who were not named Travis Kelce, also, which was an absolutely terrible idea, which leads to you having Alan Lazard as your number 1 receiver. Clearly, that's how that happens. That's how that math works. So it is somebody's fault. But there is audio clip of you saying that you will not draft a single tight end. Do you still stand by that?
I will not spend more than $1 on a tight end.
Oh, so he's walking it back.
I mean, I got to fill my roster.
And now this is out into the world. This isn't just on my phone.
I got to fill my roster.
You're walking it back. Okay, so
just wait till the post-draft podcast when he's like,
let me
"All
correct
right,
myself
When he's
a little bit.
wasted and he spent $58 on Travis Kelce.
I'm either gonna spend $50 on Kelce. I'm either getting the best tight end, Kelce, for whatever it costs, or I will get 2 $1 tight ends.
Okay, so
Those are
you
my only options.
walked it back from I will not draft anyone, not even for $1.
So I'll spend $50.
to I'm going to have $51 invested in my tight ends.
A quarter of my money invested in one tight end.
That's your strategy.
So it's like
Kelce for 50.
Kelce or
Bust.
nobody.
Kelce for 50 is what you're saying.
50 is probably a stretch.
So for
Kelce
those keeping track
Kelce
at
for
home, that
40,
means that
maybe.
Abs has no fucking clue what he's going to do on the draft in 2 days.
So
I've got about 17 strategies that about none of them are going to work.
So Kelce for 50 or 2 $1. If you have any other combination of tight end that we can mercilessly wreck you after the draft on
You
Sunday.
can tar and feather me live on the podcast.
Okay, that's awesome.
All right.
So let's go to
Let's go down to like tier 3 and
Let's
stuff
go
like
back
that.
to tier 3. This is where you get into some of these
Hold
value
on.
guys.
I really hope that like he gets suckered into having to buy a tight end for $2.
I won't do it.
We're gonna mercilessly let it.
All right, so this is where it gets interesting. This tier 3, tier 4 category, especially in a league with 2 starting quarterbacks or a super flex type situation.
I'm good with anybody on this list with the exception of Anthony Richardson.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know why he's ranked so high.
Anthony
on this list.
Richardson is getting so much hype preseason. It's insane.
For a guy who didn't even win in college.
Right, and people are saying, like, I read an article today that said that he was ahead of where scouts thought he would be at this point. And it's like, what?
He was
the
the
hell?
3rd overall pick or something like that.
So so people are saying he's better than people thought before he plays one game. Like, he did better in training camp than people thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
People thought that he wasn't even going to be the starter at all. Like, I don't understand. And now somebody's going to draft him in our league because we have some Gator fans. Brooksy, sorry, bud.
Love
He
you,
doesn't
buddy.
even have wide receivers to throw to. He has Michael Pittman's.
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman. I love me some Michael Pittman.
Anthony Richardson is going to go in our league for roughly $15. Here's where we'll start to throw our predictions out, and we can come back and check ourselves on these. I think he's going to go for $15, and I think that's too much.
I think he goes just because of Brooks. I think he goes for like $20.
Wow.
Yeah.
way.
That would be insane.
Because I think Brooksy will bid him
Scroll
up,
down a little bit.
and I think Polster will bid him up because Polster's really big into trying to find those quarterbacks that are mid-tier guys that he's the guy, dude. I'm telling you, he's the guy.
Yeah.
And they're
He's
not.
he's a
the guy.
he's a pair Josh Allen with a mid tier.
Yeah,
I want to talk about these guys. I think
and undervalued to him mid-tier.
Yeah.
when I talk about strategy, right? It's like I like this tier. Like you said, I like this group. I'd be satisfied if I had any of these 2 of these quarterbacks as my starter. So I like this group. I think when I think about strategy, I'd like to leave the draft with 3 guys from this tier. And spend about 50 or less.
I think
Yeah,
to get
I've
3
also
of these
never
guys.
been a big fan of Daniel Jones, and
Yeah.
I get it, like he puts up numbers, but like I can't talk myself into a 2 quarterback league having to start Danny Dimes every week.
right, as Danny Dimes
don't
being
like that.
arguably your number 1
Yeah,
feels weird.
I don't like
the
that.
other thing about this tier in our league, and really in any 2 quarterback league or a quarterback with a super flex league, right, where quarterbacks are a hot commodity, that this tier's the range of values, I think we're going to see people in this going for the upper 20s and down to like $10 or $11, depending on where these people are nominated. I could see Jared Goff going for $9 or $10. I could see Deshaun Watson going for $26, $27. So this tier is where you're going to see the most variability also in where people are drafted, how people are drafted. And I think that there's also a couple tier 4 guys that I think will sneak up into that list.
I think Derek Carr should be on that tier.
Like Russell Wilson is like, I think people are selling him, and I think
just because of his season last year.
Deep down, people know that they're going to want Russell Wilson back, especially with Sean Payton there.
Yeah, the one thing I think that people have this Brock Purdy Jordan Love triangle thing going on. Like, I don't think they belong up around Matthew Stafford and Tannehill and Kenny Pickett. Like, they're closer down to that Kyler Murray range, Sam Howell.
See, that's interesting. I'm in on Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I like Brock Purdy.
I like them both.
I'm not in on Jordan Love, but I'm in on Brock Purdy.
I can get behind Purdy because of the weapons that are in that offense. Like, you can dump one behind the line of scrimmage to Christian McCaffrey.
I could see
And,
Purdy.
he can take it 75
I could see Purdy going for like above some like Jared Goff. I could see him going above a guy like Jared Goff.
No.
I won't let that happen.
I mean, Purdy does have the weapons
let that happen.
for sure.
The other reason why I think that's going to happen is because you're looking at desperation time where this is your
right.
Oh my,
I don't want these guys to be my quarterback. I don't want
cannot
Mac
start-
Jones, Desmond Ridder.
I can't start C.J. Stroud, and if scroll up for a second. If Jordan Love and Brock Purdy are on the board, Tannehill's gone. Let's say Bryce Young and Sam Howell are gone. You're going, I don't want Kyler because he's out. I can't have Jimmy G be in my every week starter. I can't have Stroud, Mac Jones, Ridder, Baker. I can't have any of these guys be in my every week starter. Brock Purdy and Jordan Love, I'm good with them being my every week starter. I'm okay with that for a QB2. And some teams might have one QB at that point.
Yeah.
So
I'm also big into like what division does the guys play in. So Mac Jones has to go against 3 of the best defenses out there. So like I'm really big into like stay away from Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because you're gonna have to play those teams a combined 6 times.
Well, let's do a quick dive into like running backs. So let's do a quick dive into running backs, then we can get into wide receivers.
Yeah, running back is the most devalued position in our league,
and in the NFL.
And in the NFL, Jonathan Taylor can't come to the
gosh.
Dolphins. Oh, I wish he came to the Dolphins. So Christian McCaffrey, I think that's a unanimous number 1. We don't have a PPR league, but I still think it's going to be incredible usage. I see no reason why Christian McCaffrey isn't going for high 50s, $60 in our league.
Yeah, I can see that.
I
don't think he's number 1. I still think Nick Chubb is the best running back.
But you won't pay Nick Chubb money.
I won't this year, no. But last year snuck him in there.
Yeah,
I think that the highest value, like not highest value, the person that's going to be paid up is going to be Bijan Robinson, just because of how hyped he is, and Atlanta has nothing but him.
I'm gonna be shocked if Bijan Robinson goes.
The whole Bijan Robinson thing, right, is like you look at Atlanta last year; they were like the best rushing team in the NFL, right? Something like that. But like they still have Algier and Cordero Patterson,
right,
who are good, viable running backs in that.
Right.
And he's not going to get every single carry.
And if a rookie can't block on third down, that like he's gonna be just getting less touches.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and who's the head coach for Atlanta? Whatever his name is, he has like come out and made the statement, we're gonna ride the hot hand.
Didn't the guy get fired from last year?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah. What was it? Arthur Smith?
Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah, he
right?
got fired.
Yeah.
I'm saying whoever the new coach is, I was literally reading it saying that we're going to ride the hot hand, and everyone's like, well, you have Bijan Robinson. What do you mean? Like,
it'll be
we're trying to win games.
Because like these tier 1s in our league are going to go for a rough in the 50s, high 40s. Bijan, if he goes for in the 40s, I'm going to be shocked. So somebody's either going to steal him for 39 or somebody's going to take him and probably not. But even if you pay third overall running back money, like it's only downside.
Only downside.
There's no upside there. So then you get into the tier 2. You got Derrick Henry, who he's the boss. I mean, like he's going to be a stud. I mean, people are going to say he's a tier 2, but he's a tier 1 guy. Like he's going to go for tier 1 money. People are only going to question because he's old, but he's going to go for high 40s. Pollard. I have a question mark on Pollard, but a lot of people.
I told you guys the other day, like I'm not really in on Tony Pollard.
Yeah,
me neither.
Oh, I think I like him a lot.
I think Westy.
12th place.
That makes sense.
I think he's
this whole Pollard, Barkley, Jacobs situation.
Yeah.
Jacobs a little more than the other two. I would trust, but all three of them are kind of in this weird spot where it's like, you know, like Derek Carr's gone from Vegas, and Giants are just always mediocre, and Dallas is Dallas. It's like I have a hard time paying the money for these guys for the teams that they're on.
I'm good to pay the Derrick Henry money. I'd rather save $10 and go Joe Mixon, Stevenson, Najee Harris. Like,
I'm big on Joe Mixon this year, man.
Here's what I look at, right? When I combine tier 1 and tier 2, okay, it's like basically down to Joe Mixon, right? When you talk about kind of bell cows, right? It's like McCaffrey gets all the carries, Chubb gets all the carries, Bijan, I have no idea what's gonna happen, Eckler all the carries, Henry all the carries. So like the Pollard, Saquon, Jacobs, like I like those guys that I can get for, you know, maybe, you know, 75% the cost of these tier 1 guys. And Pollard, who's taking carries from Pollard? Who's taking carries from Saquon? Who's taking carries from Josh Jacobs?
That 5 rookie. Who's the guy in Dallas? The 5 rookie?
Oh yeah, Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah. I gotta go after the show. I'm gonna go take a Deuce Vaughn.
Well, this is what's important, because if we get into scroll down a little bit, so we start getting down in here. This is where it gets interesting, because there's so many teams now that have such a multi running back system. It's like you've got Breece Hall at 19, great by himself, but now he's got Dalvin Cook behind him. You've got
Damian Pierce should be higher.
You've got David Montgomery, who also has in the third tier Jahmyr Gibbs. So it's like, who are you going to take there? You got Kenneth Walker, who is great, but he's got Charbonnet behind him, who everybody loves.
I don't even know where Charbonnet is on this. Oh, there he is.
And then you've got Alvin Kamara, and you've got Jamal Williams, who did so well as a goal line guy last year. This is where it gets interesting, because there's guys like Damian Pierce, who might not be the best of the best, but he's all they got. Yeah, so that makes him so much better.
This is, if you scroll up, like, this is where I am, because in an auction draft, it's so interesting, right? You can take these guys in a standard draft and get good value because they drop a round or 2 or 3 rounds, and you're like, okay, I'll take value there. But in an auction draft, you have to put up the money to get them, because everybody goes, ETN had a great end of the last year, so like everybody's going to want to get him. I'm like, on the 2 running back systems, I'm like, give me the other guy and give me $10 to bank to go to my receivers, in which I need 4, which let's switch over to the receivers.
Yeah, let's go to receivers.
I think it's so much more important for us, at least, to discuss receivers for our league. But like, this is where I'd rather spend my money. Give me a top guy that I know is going to be that number 1 dude for a running back. But more importantly, I got to fill 4 of these spots.
Yeah.
And how many of these tier 1 and tier 2 guys can I get? Because those 11 dudes are dudes.
Right.
Those 11 dudes are dudes this year.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, when you talk about the wide receivers, you know, we just talked about running backs. Running backs, like, you don't know what you're gonna get, right? The wide receivers, you know what you're gonna get, and I think
scroll down a little bit.
Oh, sorry. And I think I heard on the radio or something. I read something or heard it somewhere that it's like the guys that are ranked top 10, it's like 70% of the time finish as a top 10 receiver. Right now, it's not like Justin Jefferson ranked 1. He might not finish 1, but he's pretty locked to finish top 10.
Yeah.
You know, without an injury, right? So if these 10 guys, right, the Jefferson,
like
to Wilson,
barring injuries, those top 10 guys, top 11 guys are gonna finish somewhere within that number.
So you're guaranteeing this, right? You go back to the running backs. You talk about, right, you know, the Josh Jacobs or the Saquon or the Pollard, right? I mean, they might not finish top 10. I mean, you would think they would, but they're big names, you know. So I don't know. But the receivers, I mean, if you pay up for this guy, you know exactly what you're going to get.
So
right?
who's the guy on this list that you think drops and goes for the lowest amount of money, 1 through 11?
CeeDee Lamb.
Interesting.
Correct.
I would say
either CeeDee Lamb or Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
I think they go for the least amount of money because people are worried about Devontae Adams with no Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams too big of a name,
but he's a huge name. But I'm specifically saying I think he goes for less than the people on the top 11.
I look at Amon-Ra and Garrett Wilson, and I think you're going to see one of those 2 guys. It's going to be the guy that goes for the less than all those guys.
I think Amon-Ra, especially after last year, when we were all joking about, I'm going to put Amon-Ra up first, and you guys are going to be idiots, and you're going to buy him, and he ended up being really good.
Like top 5.
Yeah. So I think like this year people aren't going to buy into letting somebody get Amon-Ra for what was it, like $15?
Yeah, I think it was
$17.
I could easily see one of the top 3 in tier 3 that Chris Olave, Higgins, Devonta Smith going above CeeDee Lamb.
These 12 through 19, this is money. If I could get this is where you're starting. Like at a certain point, you just run out of money, right? If you're spending money for the top dudes, you run out of money. These guys are going to go for $22, $23 or less. Now, get DJ Moore out of there. I mean, I don't know why DJ Moore isn't. I mean, get him out of there. But so if you look at 11 through 18.
But Justin Fields is such a great passer.
Yeah. 12 through 18, if you can stack up 4 of those dudes or 3 of those dudes for like $18, $19, there's questions with Debo. There's questions with DK. Give me DK, give me Debo. That's just my opinion on if you can get them for good value. And if you can't get them for good value, then this next tier 4, is going to be like pennies.
Yeah. So we were kind of talking about the whole DK thing the other day, where DK now has another receiver in that offense. So like I was looking at like Tyler Lockett's stats, and like his last like 5 years, he's been between wide receiver 12 and 17 for like the last like 5 years. And like DK is always up there. So it's like now you have another guy eating into that target share potentially. So where does like Jackson Smith and Jigba go?
I actually think
because a lot of people are really high on him. So like, does somebody overpay for the rookie hype?
Right.
On like, because again, I watch a lot of college football, and he's a stud. He wasn't the best receiver on that team though.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr. next year is the guy.
What do we think about this DeAndre Hopkins with Tennessee?
It's interesting.
I don't like it.
You don't. Well,
I mean,
So you guys should draft him. I don't
Devontae
like it.
Parker was at 1,000-yard receiver with Ryan Tannehill.
right.
So like
And
DeAndre Hopkins, I
AJ
think is a little better,
And AJ Brown.
and AJ Brown.
Right.
So like I think he can manage a star wide
You're,
receiver.
you're asking Treylon Burks to carry the load in Tennessee, and like he couldn't do it last year, and it was like pure
And he
opportunity.
got hurt in preseason.
But it was like pure opportunity all year to like do anything.
Yeah.
And like every time he got a little momentum, he was like brought back down to earth. And DeAndre Hopkins doesn't need to do anything other than just catch touchdowns from 7 yards out that Derrick Henry doesn't punch in. It's like that's it. Like just use
like
those two guys.
You get to the one, you try and run with Boss, you get a false start, throw it up to D.
like you pick your poison, throw it up to D Hop or run, and then like
Yeah.
that's your O-line offense.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that's a really
So does that make Tannehill more valuable though?
No, he sucks.
no.
It's fucking
Agreed.
terrible.
Here's something that's interesting. So you want to talk about a couple of guys that are stud athletes with a terrible situation. What are we doing with the Bucks receivers?
Yeah, this is interesting.
Oh.
So Mike Evans is the last guy in this tier. This tier, one of these guys is going to go for less than $10.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a steal, in my opinion. The only guy maybe you don't love is like Drake London, but again, he's like the dude in Atlanta. In like a rookie that like can do something. If he does anything, it's going to be with Drake London. But I think one of these guys, 20 through 29, is going to go for less than $10. And it might be Mike Evans, to your point, because what do you do? It's Godwin, it's Evans, it's Baker Mayfield. What?
Yeah.
Dude, no.
Yeah. Isn't Mike Evans like the only, or he's like on pace to be like the only receiver ever to have like start every season of his career with 1,000 yards? And it's like 8 straight years or something like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
he's
pretty
a
sure it's like something like that, where like he's on a list of like 3 guys, and it's like Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. It's like crazy names.
And wasn't he doing it with Jameis?
Yeah.
Like,
But Jameis
Yeah,
just
Jameis-
humchucks that
but
thing.
Jameis
dude.
was throwing
Jameis
five-
was throwing for 5,000 yards.
5,000 yards, 30
Baker ain't
touchdowns.
throwing for 5,000.
but Baker chucks it up. Dude.
Baker ain't throwing for 5,000.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I just look back with Baker with the Browns and his receiving crew and how like he just could not he had OBJ, like he just couldn't
OBJ,
connect with
Jarvis
OBJ.
Landry.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean like he couldn't.
So like
connect,
that, yeah, that makes me
he
very
couldn't
weary
connect
of
with
Mike
those
Evans.
guys. I mean, it's,
Jameis would throw it up. He might have 3 interceptions in a game, but he's going to connect on 3 60-yard passes.
I mean, Jameis had the
Jameis-
30
Jameis-
touchdown, 30 pick season.
Yeah, Jameis is going to throw for 38 touchdowns and 32 interceptions.
I'm finding it hard
what he
for
does.
like, because again, we're a 4 wide receiver league, so we got to start the top 48 receivers. I'm finding it hard to not be excited about a Godwin or a Mike Evans for less than $10.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm
don't
finding that
get me
hard.
wrong. Like, if Mike Evans is going for less than $10, I'm like, yeah, dude, I got to take him for $8.
Yeah,
Hard.
especially when you
Yeah.
get down here where it's the bottom 48, where it's like,
Right.
And,
Like, these
and
guys are
you're,
starters.
you're even
Davis.
more excited about
Scroll
it
up
too.
to the top of this
You
tier.
on top of this year?
Yeah,
You're,
top.
you're even more excited about the Mike Evans, less than $10 thing.
Right.
If he's rounding out your wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like if he's your 3 or 4 guy, it's like, I wouldn't want to rely on Mike Evans anymore as my 1.
It's interesting to look at this.
Absolutely not.
It's interesting to look at this tier because these are all starters in our league, and like wide receivers are very tricky, right? The wide receiver 20 and the wide receiver 38 don't have that much of a point difference at the end of the year, right? But you can get like multiple of these guys for $7, $5, and have a lot more money to spend on top quarterbacks, top running backs, whatever. It's like if you gave me a team that had 4 guys from this tier as my starting receivers, I'm not terribly upset as long as there's some guys with upside like Zay, like Jackson. Like I want to get guys like that. Even Jordan Addison, right? That's 3 rookies and a second-year guy in Pickens. And
the only difference
Second
between
year guy,
that, the only
Jahan.
difference between that 25 guy and that 40 guy is just the 40 guy. You're gonna have to choose every week between him and your 5th wide receiver, and you might get it wrong.
Right.
The 20 guy you're gonna have at your 4 spot every single week.
which guy on this list? Let's do this. 2 guys on this list that have the best potential to finish top 12.
Pickens.
George Pickens.
Pickens.
And I would say Jerry Jeudy if he didn't just have a hamstring injury.
Right.
I would say George Pickens and probably.
I know, but why don't you go down to Cortland Sutton?
Because Cortland Sutton was on the field by himself last year with Russell Wilson.
I would say if you scroll down a little
So-
bit, Abs, I would say Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I would say
See, I
would say Deontay Johnson. I think
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson gets hella open
I could
and
see that.
scored no touchdowns last year. He's going to score touchdowns this year.
I could
So
see.
I would say
could see
Deontay
Johnson, but I think
and-
George Pickens has a breakout year, so I don't see both of them doing it.
And I mean, if anything ever happened to CD, Brandon Cooks is like a top 15
But
wide receiver.
also
Gotta be.
Elijah Moore on Cleveland.
It's interesting.
You don't know what Cleveland's going to do
no
this
way,
year.
There's no way he's a top 12. Like, I think he could definitely have some upside there. I'm not saying he's not going to have upside, but there's no way he's a 12. There's no way Treylon Burks, rookie, and Addison, Jackson, and Zay. I think any of those guys in my mind, because I don't know, but I don't want Cooks. I don't want Sutton. To your point, Pittman Jr. is an interesting one, right? That's your number 1, but the only reason you're doubting it is because of
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson, which
Right.
we just ragged on.
But also,
Yeah.
if you scroll down a little bit more, then you've got slant boy Michael Thomas.
Big on Michael Thomas this
Well,
year.
Michael Thomas, if he played the whole season, he's top 20.
I'm only big on Michael Thomas because I watched a video of him deadlifting and was super pumped up about it. Gave me a little bit of a chub.
Yeah, I mean he's
Nick
gonna, he's
Chubb?
gonna. I mean it's
A
unfortunate.
little bit of a Nick Chubb.
Like you want him to be healthy. He's going to get hurt 3 games into the season.
100%.
yeah, and I'll trade him.
He's
Scott-
going to break a toenail
I'll
and
trade
he
him.
won't play
I'll-
the rest of the year.
I'll trade him after 6 weeks on the bench with upside.
The last thing I'll say on this tier list is anybody that's on right here on this screen, I want to stay a million miles away from. Everyone on this,
Lazard?
everyone on this, yeah, right? Thank you. Everyone on this list is fake news. There's an article written about them that is talking about how great they're going to be.
I'll
and
tell
it
you
is-
what,
and it is pure
if
fluff.
he can ever play,
I take it back.
Jameson Williams
There's one
could
person
be
on
good.
That. There's one person on that screen right now that I would take. Adam Thielen's.
That's on the bottom. Scroll down there.
Down at
You
the bottom,
take
scroll
Adam
down.
Thielen?
59 overall.
I would
Thielen.
take Adam Thielen's. I love me some
I
Thielen.
was just- I was just talking to
Young's
Trey
going to throw
about
for
this.
3,500 yards.
Somebody's got to catch him.
Somebody's going to catch him.
Adam Thielen is a high floor, no ceiling. Sorry, no ceiling means he has unlimited upside.
Yeah.
He has a very low ceiling. He lives in a cage up on a mountain.
No,
That's
he
fine.
has a low ceiling and no floor.
No, he has a high.
His
no,
floor
high-
is 0.
He's falling down through the floor.
No, he has a high floor. I think he's going to get 40 yards a week, but he's never going to catch touchdowns.
That's all he does is catch touchdowns. What are you
No, he
talking about?
doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Go look at his stats last year. I had him on my team all year. No, he wasn't a touchdown machine.
Trey's taking Adam Thielen, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, he is.
I had him last year. I couldn't get rid of him.
Trey's taking him.
What about sleeper? Let's
Put it on the
All right.
board.
Let's get
So,
a sleeper.
um,
Anybody got
yeah.
a good sleeper here?
Yeah.
Jonathan Mingo.
So why don't we do?
That's my sleeper.
What are we gonna do before we end this? Most over and undervalued person that you think is going to go in this draft for all four of us?
Like who's going to go for the most money and who's going to go for the least money? So
Like who's gonna be the most overpaid and who's gonna
Calvin Ridley.
who's gonna slide?
Calvin Ridley will get way upsold because we have a lot of Jags bias in our league.
I mean, it's Calvin Ridley or Trevor Lawrence. But
Yeah.
there's so much Jags bias in this league.
And as far as somebody who's going to slide, I could see like potentially one of the top quarterbacks, like the top 2-tier quarterbacks sliding down because everybody's overpaying for a bunch of big name wide receivers early.
I think it's going to be.
I can see a quarterback falling.
It's going to be very determinative. The thing that will determine who has the biggest slide is absolutely going to be based on the flow of the draft. And I think that everybody wants to wait on receivers because they want to get them for a bunch of money. So I think the biggest steals are going to be top running backs are going to be stolen for numbers that we have never seen over the last 2 years. They're going to go for less. I don't think any running back goes for 60. I think the highest running back is like $52 or $53 this year.
Yeah.
I think everybody goes, I'm out and I'm in on receiver and I'm waiting on receiver. So I'm going to put up running backs to get people to bid on running backs so that I have money for my wide receivers. And those early running backs, tier ones, are going to go for lower than expected money. I think the guys that are going to go for higher than expected money are going to be those receivers that we just saw in tier 4 right before you get to that cliff where I said, get me out of here. Those receivers you're going to be shocked to see, like, how did that guy go for $12 or $13? That's wild.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but I think people are going to be, depending on when it gets put up, I think people are going to be like overbidding on some of these guys because they're good guys in like a lower tier and they listen to sleeper radio and they want to go grab them.
Before we end this, I will say that if I have the first opportunity to put somebody up in the draft, I'm 100% putting up Jonathan Taylor just so somebody pays $25 for him.
That's a good way to end it. What is your prediction on Jonathan Taylor dollar number?
$20, and
he
it's
will not
be
go for less than 20.
What do you pick a number?
23.
21.
I'll say 17.
I'm gonna say he goes for $11.
If he goes for 11, I'm bidding 12.
Okay, well let's see.
All right.
I dare you.
Is he gonna? I mean,
I'll take him.
It's really just like how much are you willing to spend on a guy who, if he plays, will put up top 5 RB numbers, but he also might not play at all.
Well, he's definitely not playing for 25% of the season.
But he's out for 4 games for sure.
So, no thank you. But okay, let's see. So what did I say? I said 11. What did I say? Yeah,
11, 17,
What did
21,
what did
and I said 23.
What did didn't DeAndre Hopkins, wasn't he suspended like the first 6 games?
Less
last
than
year?
$10.
What did he went for less than 10?
Yeah, he went
Yeah.
for $8.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think $11 is Jonathan Taylor. We'll see. All right. So I think that's it. For those that stuck through this whole episode, you're a true trooper.
True
this
daddy.
This is a passion episode for us, and we're doing another one after this. The next episode you see will also be a recap. All the things we talked in this episode, we're probably going to touch on and freak out when we look at his roster. With that said, wrap us up.
Yep. So that's going to be it. And then, like he said, we've got one more. And then after that, I swear we're going to get back to the Dadvice. But yeah, these are for us. And like we said at the beginning, if you don't like it, kick rocks.
Love you. Bye.
Yep.
Nice.
See you around.